پاراشای امروز، پاراشایی که امروز شبات خونده میشه، پاراشای تیسا هست. این پاراشا همیشه در موقع پوریم خونده میشه. تورا طوری دیزاین شده که این پاراشا همیشه در موقع پوریم خونده بشه و انرژی که این پاراشا داره انرژی امونا هست، سرتنتی. من از بزرگان یک عذرخواهی میکنم به خاطر جوانهایی که ما داریم اینجا و مهمونهای آمریکایی که داریم. توضیحات این پاراشا رو به انگلیسی میگم، انشالله که منو میلا میکنید، بعد در آخر باز سعی میکنم به فارسی هم توضیحاتی بدم. Today we're going to read a section of the Torah, Tissa. Tissa is the story of the golden calf. The golden calf. We know that when the Israelites 3,500 years ago all gathered at the bottom of the Mount Sinai, and Moshe Rabbeinu went on the top of the Mount Sinai and received what the Kabbalists call the 10 utterances, the 10 Sefirot, the light force of God, the knowledge of God. And everybody witnessed, they say all the souls of the Bnei Israel, everybody, including every one of us, were at the bottom of the Mount Sinai, and we all saw the light force of God. We all heard the sound of the upper world. And because of that, we received an energy force, a light force, that they call it Bila Hamavet Vanetzach, which means all the darkness disappeared from the face of earth. There was nothing but the light force of God. Everybody reached to a level of prophets. Everybody saw everything so clearly. And what we received was the power of certainty. The power of certainty. The message of the Purim. The message of Megillat Esther. The message of Esther and Mordechai and Moshe Rabbeinu. Certainty. That's what we received. Ultimate certainty. Ultimate certainty. But then something very strange happened. Moshe tells the Israelite that I need to go back to the top of the Mount Sinai and bring down the 2 tablets that contains the 10 Sefirot, the 10 utterances. And he promised that he will be back in 40 days. And he leaves. He leaves and he goes on the top of the Mount Sinai. 40 days passes. At the 40th day, something strange happened. People became restless. They thought from the day that Moshe left, the day he left counted as one day. So when the 40th day came, and Moshe hadn't come back yet, they start having doubt. What happened to Moshe? Where is our leader? Where is our guide? What are we going to do? Rashi, one of the biggest commentators of the Torah, he explains that what really caused the people to fall was a confusion. Some form of confusion happened. He explains that on that day, all of a sudden, there was this dark cloud that came around the camp of Bnei Israel. A dark cloud. It's like that day was becoming dark and dark. And people would start having doubt and uncertainty, and they were worried, and they kept complaining, Where is Moshe? What happened to Moshe? Who's going to lead us out of this desert? And they fall into this darkness, this uncertainty. And that's why they ask Aharon to build them a guidance, something. And Rashi explains that they wanted some form of gods, not just one god, gods. They wanted a God that would lead them, help them, guide them. And you know what happened? Aharon asked all the people to gather all their gold and dedicate to build something. He didn't know what he's going to build. They told him, just like your breastplate, that every time we have a question, we come and your breastplate gives us the answer. We need something. Moshe is not here. We don't know what to do. Do something. So Aharon asked all the people to bring all their golds, and he pours all the gold into this fire, and all of a sudden a golden calf comes out of this fire of gold. And Rashi explains that was their mistake. Then comes Ramban, a Spanish Kabbalist, and he says, this is not what exactly happened. Ramban explains what really happened to their consciousness. They didn't want to replace God. They still had certainty in God. But they wanted to replace Moshe because they thought Moshe is not there anymore. So when they asked Aharon to do something, to build something, to create something, it was something to replace Moshe, not God. They still had they had certainty in God. They had certainty in God. But they lost the certainty of having somebody who tells them where to go, what to do, something. They needed some physical force to guide them. They were looking for another Moses, not another God. Ramban explains that when Rashi talks about they wanted to replace a God, that's not quite right. They didn't want to replace God. They wanted to replace Moshe Rabbeinu. They wanted somebody to guide them, some sort of GPS. We're in the middle of the desert. We don't know where to go. Our certainty is getting lower and lower. Our faith is shattering. Build something for us. Create some physicality, just like your breastplate, like your dress, something. We need something to hold on to. And why a calf came out? When they poured the gold into the fire, an animal, a calf, was created by this fire. And the calf started dancing and singing. And they thought, oh, this is it. This is it. God is injecting light into this calf. Why a calf? The Kabbalist explains, when we saw the light force of God at the bottom of the Mount Sinai, we saw certain faces on the four corners of Mount Sinai. Faces of eagle, faces of lion, and there was a face of a bull on the left side of the Sinai. And a bull represents Geburah, represents judgment. And being on the left side, that means this creature that came out of the fire is actually what they need. And Midrash said something more amazing. It says in Midrash that the fire that created this golden calf went in the top of the mountain of Sinai And God used that fire to write the tablets, the 10 commandments, the 10 ordinances. What is going on? What happens to the people's consciousness? They didn't think they're doing something wrong. They thought Moshe is not there. We have no hope. We have nobody to guide us. We need something. We need some physical. We need some miracle to get back to the certainty that we received on the top of the mountain. And then when this golden calf came out of the fire, they said, oh, this is it. What was their fault? What was their mistake? What was their mistake? They had certainty. They wanted some form of physicality to gain that ultimate certainty that they received on the top of the Mount Sinai. Don't we ask for sign when we need something? Don't we ask for a miracle when our certainty gets low? When an emunah is not 100%, we say, God, show me something. Show me something. Give me a sign. Make a miracle. Let me believe in you. Show me something so I can believe in you. And that was the fall of the Bnei Israel. They needed some form of physicality, some kind of God, a physical God, to gain back the ultimate certainty that they receive on the top of the Mount Sinai. That's why they fell. That's why they lost that certainty that they received. And it was the ultimate certainty. Ramban explains that in the best case scenario, we shouldn't depend ourselves, our consciousness, to some form of physicality, some physical miracle that we have absolute emunah, absolute certainty. I don't need to be proved that there is a God. I don't need to be proved that Moshe still lives. Shabbat Shalom. Once I think I need something physical so I can get my consciousness of certainty back, that means I don't have certainty. That means I don't have certainty. If I need something, if I need a sign, if I need some physical entity so I can make sure that I have certainty, that means I don't have certainty. This Shabbat, the scene of golden calf, this reading of the story of the golden calf, it's not a story that happened 3,500 years ago. It's what's happening into our consciousness every day. Every day. When something physical happens and we lose our emunah, we lose our certainty. When we cannot choose the right path, it's all about choosing something that is right versus choosing that is wrong. And if my decision is based on show me and I believe it, give me a sign, then I believe it, then I will lose it all. Unless I know with all my soul and my being that whatever happens in my life, it is the best thing that is happening in my life. It's the best challenge that is happening in my life. And when I inject ultimate certainty in it, then I elevate myself above the sin of golden calf. This parsha has so much light force, so much energy, and we're going to go through it during the reading. But the ultimate message of this Shabbat, the Shabbat right after Purim, in this crazy world, is to have emunah, is to have certainty. I think we all noticed last Tuesday at the Congress how a prime minister of a small country, one of the smallest countries in the world, stands on the podium of the biggest room, the most important room in the world, and points to Moshe Rabbeinu and says, Moshe says, be strong, have certainty, and you will succeed. Ezzat Hashem, with the zuchut of this parasha, with the zuchut of this beautiful wedding that we have, with the new baby, we're all going to succeed. We're going to have so much certainty. We're going to change all the darkness into light. Amen.